Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some very fun stuff to get to go and show you guys over here, where we now have a chance to see the video of the PlayStation 5 developer kit in action. Now, I'm sure you guys may or may not have had a chance to see, but the PlayStation 5 developer kit throughout the years has been showcased up. We've had a few different leaks, we've had a few people assuming this was real, we had a few folks too as well kind of say it was kind of ugly at the end of the day, but there's a lot of very unique and also kind of nifty features that are also tied into the PlayStation 5 that I want to go and talk about and showcase over here. It's always kind of a nice thing to kind of see like where we've kind of come and where we're kind of going to as well when it comes to all these different types of products. So, got a lot of cool stuff to go talk about and show throughout this video. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. We have the Amazon links down below for all the signups and drops, Twitter and Twitch streams down below if you guys want to follow, and of course the Target links too as well. And this is actually some kind of cool stuff to get to show. So as I mentioned, we've had some of these leaks already kind of showcase up over here, where you guys can see the PlayStation 5 dev kits, where they definitely do look kind of weird, kind of strange, and definitely kind of look like they come out from Star Trek, where it's just there's weird designs, weird angles, and funny enough, I kind of do prefer the PlayStation 5 design as of right this second. But there's a lot of different separate features and unique features and also developer features, because obviously, either prototypes or PlayStation 5 development kits are not the same as what is sold out to the consumers. And we've seen this stuff, we've seen some things in pictures and all of that. And as well, I've also seen like, the copyright type stuff that's also been claimed. But one thing we haven't had a chance to really fully see is someone have a big in-depth dive into it, like a deep dive into it, and showcase up what it looks like, how it works, extra hidden features, and all of that with the PlayStation 5 dev kit itself. So there's actually a very intriguing YouTube person over here is called Macho Nacho, who had a chance to kind of have a good initial, like hands-on and deep dive into this. So I kind of want to go and talk over it and give him obviously all the credit in the world over here, because this is actually really cool. But this is all in regards to the PlayStation 5 dev kit, where you guys can go and see where it is the original model of DFI D1000 over here. And this is it physically in person, although it may have been the PlayStation 5 digital dev kit, or maybe just more of an earlier iteration, because it does not have the disk drive too as well. So as you guys can kind of see from the video that they did and edited, they had a few different separate like features and disk drive readers and all of that tied into the console. But there's a lot of different things. We can do a quick pause on this one and do a little bit more of a step-by-step through the video, where they have, all the numbers over here, development kit for the PlayStation 5, Sony Interactive Entertainment Inc., and a lot of big things. So they have an system standby, a reset button too, which we obviously don't really have on our consoles, or at least that front and center. System, and then also network, obviously initiation too as well with their statuses. Older, look at all the USBs. They have the older USB and also current USB. I think that's what, 2.0, 3.0, or whatever it is. And also they even have as my camera is covering it up a little bit, they even go and have a little screen and screen monitor for the console itself. A lot of really cool and nifty features that are completely different from everything else. But I like this. This is cool. This almost kind of seems like it's like a little piece of video game history, because there isn't usually that many out there. Like obviously you have some of the bigger devs and stuff with it, but there isn't usually like millions upon millions. These are kind of niche, and you kind of have to have like special licensing, special contracts, or be even a part of maybe, let's say, like Naughty Dog to be on top of it. So these are just regularly accessible buttons on the top front of the console. These are all the nice little USBs themselves to probably charge controllers, test features, maybe test things like, say, like PSVR 1 to see if it would even work, or test out PSVR 2, depending on the console developer and all that stuff, and all the various USBs. I'm going to maybe assume because this was in like that middle generation that they weren't sure what kind of USB they wanted to use. Now, this is also a highlight too as well of the little, I guess like console, of it, for lack of better terms. But it's really cool. And these are also now where I think they put the heat sinks as well, as they kind of explained up in the video. I think the video is awesome. You guys should probably check it out. But when it comes to all the actual heat sinks itself too, and kind of the extra little blockiness of it, I think it's like this is also, I think, slightly better specs in comparison to the normal PlayStation 5. So here they're just kind of showcasing how the screwing actually is, how the front casing is, and how it's kind of locked on in. And these are actually where the heat sinks dissipate air out, which is a very intriguing design. And I'm sure you guys know they've changed designs like, 3 different times or so far with all this. Very intriguing to see. And this is like just, you guys, a lot of folks are like, oh my god, this is blocky. Yeah, imagine this. And I think they were also mentioning how there was actually the possibility to even have it flipped upside down. Now, this is actually kind of a design I think is cool, although I think it really does go look like a spaceship at the end of the day. This is why I always love when you have a chance to see YouTubers and other folks have a chance to showcase this stuff. It's very rare to have these hands-on and kind of just see like the individual crevasses and everything with it. Like, this is really cool. So they also have like this nice unique power button, which I kind of like it just being front and center right in the middle. And then they also have 2 separate Ethernet ports, as you guys can see on the left side. As well, also, like, it's slightly different, with the Sony branding and all these vents. But this really does look like a spaceship at the end of the day. If you really ask me, that definitely looks like one. At least in my opinion, I think it does. So it's always intriguing with that. So, some intriguing things to note, too, is that since they have those separate space bars, and they mentioned this in the video, too, and it's kind of cool, they actually had 2 separate Ethernet lines that actually had one for, like, just imagine normal, casual internet itself, like, seems pretty easy and pretty chill. And the part 2 is they actually had a bigger one, which is more of a business cable fiber connector, which I think is also as well pretty intriguing to go and see. And now that what they even mentioned was maybe it's more for updating, like say like you want to upload a file or upload an actual game itself, maybe do some really big patches or have to download really big files, say from maybe Sony themselves or other various things. That was actually a very nifty separation that would probably only ever want to show up on a developer kit rather than a normal console. Some other kind of cool things to note is that also some of the UI and also the features available as you turn on the console itself are also different. Now, some of these things are smaller things like, those little rubbers that you go in. So like it's basically elevated off of the ground, or it's just not always perpetually touching the ground, stuff like that. A lot of different features, as you guys can see, just from the console itself. But I think one of the bigger things too is once they turn it on, and this is one of the cooler stuff, is where you guys can kind of see in the bottom right, it shows things like the network address, IP address, netmask, defaults, MAC addresses, and everything else too. See like the release check mode and all this other stuff. And this is like, dude, I kind of wish we had this on our normal PlayStations. Maybe not necessarily our IP addresses, but it would be very nifty and kind of cool to see all of this tied on in. I think it seems nice. I think it seems cool, etc., etc. And you guys can also see it launches up over here with like kind of some normal features of adjusting display areas, adjusting different things, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, I think this does look pretty cool. Like, it also, as you guys can see, also has the OG PlayStation 5 controller just sent over there too as well. And there was a few different other various things in terms of setups and other features that they have too. Like, if you guys kind of look at, say, a normal, like you launch your normal PlayStation 5 or even like Xbox, you don't have things like Workspace Zero, or you don't have other different things with like system softwares and all these internal details with the console itself because it's different. They also do have this dev kit and test kit is expired. See activation guide on that. They also did have a bigger hard drive too with 2.2 terabytes. They have Game Hub previews, store previews, debug settings previews, media galleries, and everything else too, as you guys can see. And this internal heads up with all this is great. This is so cool to see because it's just different. Like, if you have a developer console, you're basically testing the game to make sure it works. You're launching. Sometimes people do like pre-alpha builds or alpha builds on these consoles to see then how it transforms into the PlayStation 5 itself. And I think there's also been rumors that it has slightly more elevated specs in terms of like GPU, CPU. And as you guys probably saw as well, they also had some good specs too as well for the CPUs too. And also for a hard drive, more so for like the storage and all that. So it's just kind of cool to go and see all these big differences when it comes to this. And as you guys can see, there's even different types of debug settings, which is obviously just making sure your console works. So you can see different stuff. You can see different types of like changes, crash logs, etc. All of these types of things. They also have network things for developers, PSVR, and like a lot of really different things even for the debug settings. Like, kind of just kind of goes to showing how much cool stuff is there. There's system updates, we have web updates, and as we mentioned before, it all is tied into with basically just being I don't know, just like for the rough idea, just have to basically have this all approved by Sony and approved and actually have a reason to be using this stuff in the first place. But it's pretty similar in terms of what you're expecting, besides, like, as you guys can see, like a bigger hard drive. But I think this is super cool and super sick, especially because this is how people are literally making consoles. This is literally how people are making this stuff work. And at the end of the day, like, this is how we make games. Like, this is how you make sure the games are also working. Or if you have issues, here's all these like debugs and boot history and all the stuff that is definitely not on a normal console. So if you guys are slightly more on the techie side, you guys may like this. This may actually think it might be kind of pretty cool. So I'm going to give you guys all of this good stuff on over here. And I just think it's awesome. So major, major, major big shout outs over here too for just even making this video in the first place. Like Macho Nacho, awesome if you have a chance to have a hands-on with this. And I do want to say I think I do prefer the final design at the end of the day, and I'm kind of happy to get this huge weird spaceship for our console. So give me your thoughts and comments down below. Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Let me know. And also make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, Amazon links, Twitter and Twitch stream links, and all the usual stuff as well down below. And I appreciate you guys all so much for watching in the first place.